Hey everyone, Big Soiled Pants here. I just wanted to film this quick video to talk a little bit about the different gardening myths that exist and to use these two jalapeno plants as an example. As you can see here, I have a jalapeno plant here and another jalapeno plant here. These two jalapeno plants have been given the exact same treatment ever since they were seedlings, and they've developed very similarly for most of their life. But you can see how this one has bushier growth and 3 or 4 peppers already on it, and this one is a little bit less bushy and has some small flowers that are starting to form but doesn't have any developed peppers on it at the moment. And so the point I want to make here is that if I had been running an experiment on these two pepper plants and saying, oh, if I give this one fertilizer and this one not fertilizer in a certain amount, or some other kind of variable that I was trying to test, I would have wrongfully assumed that whatever I did with this plant was the better option, and then, carried forward into my life thinking that was true. But these two plants have been given literally the exact same sunlight, potting soil, fertilizings, pretty much everything that I've been able to control. These two have gotten basically exactly the same treatment, and they're right next to each other. But they're yielding different results. So that just goes to show you there is some variation in the individual plant itself, it seems like. And you have to watch out for the advice that a lot of people give with gardening, because the sample sizes when people do little backyard tests are just most of the time not large enough to yield any meaningful results. If you're testing 1 or 3 plants versus another 3 plants, there's a lot of just randomness involved, even when you give 2 plants the exact same treatment. So a lot of times a false conclusion can be drawn based on your test. So I just wanted to bring up that point here in this video, because I see a lot of different gardening myths and things where there's wrong information and it confuses people who are beginner gardeners. There's so much conflicting information out there. And just to give you a little bit of perspective about why some of this incorrect information becomes a thing, I believe is due to things like this. So this actually is something that is true for a lot of things in life. Like, if I would have eaten that giant bar of ice cream, I would have thought that I slept shitty because of that, but I slept shitty regardless last night. Just things like that. So anyway, that's my TED Talk. Thanks for tuning in to Big Soiled Pants Gardening Rant, and I will see you later.